What is going on, guys? You're listening to the Realist Podcast, and welcome back. Next big thing. It's been how long?
Months.
Longer. God. Going. Let's go
I know.
through the. Let's go through this. We're gonna go through our library, but we are doing next big thing. This is our everything NXT wise, and let's get right into it. Let's be straight here. NXT, in my opinion, hasn't been that great lately, and the reason why here's my reason why. I don't think it's been great because of the fact that we haven't seen, the stories haven't progressed a lot. I can tell you guys what's going to happen, and I will. If you guys want spoilers, I can. Just a lot's about to happen. So, shit. I'm with Kyle and Andrew. We also have. I'm also going to talk some New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, but what do you guys think?
I don't know. I've really enjoyed NXT the last few weeks. I like the feuds that have been building up, and it was interesting. The last time we actually had this show, the biggest question was, after the draft, how are they gonna pick up the pieces with all their big players gone? And especially the women's division, the tag team division, have really stepped up in recent weeks. And the reason why I say that is because with DIY winning the championships, they've opened up such an awesome platform of wrestling. And the last 2 weeks alone, you had TM61 challenge for the titles this past week. The week before in Japan, you had Akira Tozawa and Tajiri challenge for the championships, and both of those matches were fantastic. Very brilliantly written, and it didn't have to be heel versus face. These were two faces going at it, and they gave it everything they got, and I was very impressed with the finished product.
By the way, this is Next Big Thing, episode 9. I literally just went through all of our stuff. It's number 9.
Dude, that's rough. We suck, man.
Well,
NXT. I don't think it's really been iffy lately. I think it's been really good. My only real complaint that I could really think of is that I don't like how. I love the feud between Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, but what I don't like is the hot potato of the title. Now I understand why they did it, because they want to keep the matches going and keep the feud going as long as they can. Plus, on the tour kind of thing, have Shinsuke be able to compete in Japan and get the title, all that stuff. I understand all the reasoning behind it, but I just hate when they play hot potato with titles. We've seen that with the IC title. We've seen it with so many titles, and I just hate it. It really diminishes the meaning of a title. It does, because it doesn't show that it's really like a championship title. It shows it's just a belt. That's what it just turns into, in my opinion. But even like Angel said, the tag team division and the women's division have really stepped up. It's been awesome. I have loved it, especially DIY winning and seeing TM61, because they are really one of my favorite tag teams in NXT, and even on the main roster too. They're great. They don't get enough spotlight. I want to say they're finally starting to get it, but NXT, like I said, me personally, I think it's still been great. I really enjoy it every single time I watch it.
yeah, a lot of the feuds. We obviously have Bobby Roode going to be the number one contender of the NXT Championship in San Antonio. He's on a winning streak, hasn't lost a singles match or a televised match yet. Well, he did lose the tag team match, but he hasn't lost a singles match yet. What do you guys think? Does Bobby Roode lose against Shinsuke Nakamura in San Antonio?
I don't think so. I think they might give him the title. He'd be perfect for it. There's really no reason to not give it to him. I think they're going to give him the title. It's quite possible. It'd be perfect. It's like the Shinsuke situation. He goes on a big winning streak, becomes number one contender, and then gets the title. They could do the same thing with Roode. He should not be losing anytime soon. I think he's on a great hot streak. He's a heel, but the crowd loves him. The crowd absolutely loves him. He'd be perfect to take the title right now. And Shinsuke, they can both have a feud like Shinsuke and Joe did. They can do that again. It'd be easy.
Right. I personally,
Hey,
I personally think Bobby Roode will win. The rematch will be at the Takeover right before WrestleMania. He'll lose again, being Shinsuke Nakamura, and Nakamura will make his debut on the main roster.
That'd be a strong possibility. Bobby Roode's the perfect guy to kind of like take the torch now as leading the company. He could easily do it now, like they did for Joe. He came in, paid his dues a little bit, and got the title, and he led it perfectly. Bobby Roode can do the same thing.
Yeah, I could see Bobby Roode winning the championship. I mean, if they wanna extend the feud a little bit longer, they could always have Bobby Roode lose the first match, which they really don't have to. But I mean, if they really wanted to extend it and keep Shinsuke and NXT for a little bit longer, that could be one possibility. But like I think the best option is what you guys are laying out here, where Bobby Roode wins a championship, goes on to defend it for the first time, and beats Shinsuke and sends him back into the main roster.
I think Bobby Roode should keep the title until around SummerSlam and debut around SummerSlam. Or at the draft, whenever the draft is. Because it's going to turn around from... Because it'll go from Shinsuke, who's hot. Top star on NXT right now. He'll pass the torch, which I would give it to Ty Dillinger, because that motherfucker is over as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would... give it to Bobby Roode, the title. Keep it on him until around SummerSlam, if not longer. Have him, and then have him lose it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think, with how over Shinsuke is and how good he is, I don't think there should be a reason for him even being on NXT as of right now. I think he's just so good and so over. I personally think that he should be on the main roster at WrestleMania. I think that's at the Monday Night Raw right after.
Yeah, but can't you say that same about Ty Dillinger in terms of
No,
like I mean, not just like he's good. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got a good gimmick, and he's been there for a long time. Like he really does deserve the call up.
There's been
I'm
nothing.
a big Ty Dillinger advocate.
I'm a fan of him too, but there's been nothing for him on NXT and on SmackDown. Or
Well,
SmackDown
that's just because
in
of
the main roster.
the guys that he gets pushed aside for, like Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura. And now you got guys like Roderick Strong, Chris Hero, and Chris Young on NXT. So where would the Perfect 10 really fit in that picture? You know, it's like if you're going to bring anybody up, now's the time, or else Ty Dillinger's just going to end up being the same thing on the main roster. At least give him an opportunity on the main roster for a bit before those guys get called up.
Right. I just don't think there hasn't been anything for him to story-wise. I think the best thing that he's had is Bobby Roode, and I mean, the guy's on fire. And I kind of felt bad for Buddy Murphy. Dude is from Australia. He comes out and people are like, oh, yeah. From Melbourne, Australia. And everyone's like, oh, this guy's a hometown guy. Heck yeah. Yeah. We like you.
Then a bigger pop for Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger.
Exactly. All about Ty. Man.
Oh, man.
I think also the other issue with Ty is that, I mean, it's unfortunate the way he's been and the pushes he's gotten, but they also haven't been able to see if he can hold a title, if he can do well with the title too. And that's hard to do in NXT because there's only one like singles title. There's not like an IC or a US title, even a cruiserweight title, nothing like that. There's only one, so nobody has seen if he can do well at holding a title yet. And I don't know when we'll see that. Hopefully soon.
Well,
so then, if he does that, then we can see him be moved up sooner. But I don't know if they'll move him up without giving him a title.
Well, it doesn't help that whenever you could possibly put him in a situation to have a title, you have someone like Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Shinsuke Nakamura, and all of them come up.
It's flooded by other talent.
Yeah. I mean, at least if you brought him up now, or he was up there now, you could put him on somewhere like Raw or SmackDown. I would say more so SmackDown, where he could go against people like The Miz, who would really give him the opportunity to show that he would be able to shine and be a top competitor. And I don't think he could do that on Monday Night Raw. I really don't. I think if he's going to work with anybody, it would be The Miz, because The Miz is the guy that will get anybody over. I have full confidence in The Miz. And, you know, years ago, I would have never said that. But, I mean, after this year, I've really seen how good The Miz is. He's not just a has-been reality star. He really does know how to get under your skin. He really is a good heel, and he knows how to perform.
And that's the problem. I mean, we're at a point now where we're like, okay, look, you know, everyone needs to just go on go to SmackDown. That's the only thing for him. But we have to realize they got it. Some people have to go to Smack or Raw. It's gonna suck for whomever, but me personally, I think the Revival need to go to SmackDown. When it comes, we already know Mickey James will be on SmackDown. It's just a matter of time before she shows up.
I would say Shinsuke to Raw. They need a huge face, and it can't
They
just be
do.
Finn Balor.
Well, it can't be Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, it can't be Roman Reigns. But I mean, if you throw Shinsuke over at Raw, and if they, and see, I say throw him over at Raw with care, because if they handle his character right, it doesn't matter what he does, he'll still get over with the crowd.
That
I mean, the guy's English isn't amazing, but he could just be himself,
see
and he gets over with the crowd.
that one's what's hard though, because we're over here saying, well, he needs to be on Raw, but they're feeding us Reigns. But then again, SmackDown needs faces.
Like AJ's got no one to face after this, pretty much. Unless they throw in the Undertaker, that's all they have.
It
They
just
need guys like that. That's the problem.
they need a lot, and it's. I'm trying to think of what they could do, because like if you want my opinion, I would throw Shinsuke on SmackDown, and because if you do that, Finn's gonna come back, and it's obvious that they're gonna make Finn their number one top babyface. It's obvious that's their goal. So why not? I mean, why not have Shinsuke on SmackDown? Let that happen, and if they don't want to continue with Finn, then you do the draft and you swap them. But SmackDown is in deep need of baby faces.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is, I mean, you even said you wanted. Sorry to interrupt, but you even said you want to talk about New Japan. There was a feud like a little while ago before AJ and Shinsuke both moved over to WWE that Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles both had a feud for Japan's
the
Intercontinental Championship.
IGWP or IWGP.
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
I watched that match today too. That was great.
It was, yeah, exactly. They can produce amazing matches, and even though Shinsuke can't really speak all that much English, look at him on NXT. The crowd loves him. He doesn't have to give a promo ever. He doesn't have to. The crowd will still love him and cheer him more than anybody else in the company. So he doesn't need to. So the American, I don't know where they can go, man.
That's the question, because I see how much Shinsuke is loved, and then I look at Asuka, and I'm kind of like, okay, she gets a pop sometimes, but I feel like the fans are tired of her. And it's like, well, what's really the difference between Shinsuke and Asuka? Because Asuka gets more airtime when it comes to promos than Shinsuke.
She could probably speak more English.
Well, I mean, I know she could speak more English. I mean, that's obvious. But what is it that gets Shinsuke more over and keeps him over, as opposed to Asuka, who, they kind of like, it's Asuka.
With the fact that it's
Shinsuke
she's cool.
Nakamura. I mean, other than the fact that it's Shinsuke Nakamura, I mean, for somebody who hasn't really witnessed him before, what is it that differentiates him with Asuka in terms of her character and his character?
How charismatic Shinsuke is.
I mean, they both play the wild person, right?
If you want my opinion and how me personally how he got over for me, because look, I'll be straight with you. The only thing I knew about Shinsuke was what Kyle was telling me before he debuted at NXT Dallas. What's gotten me to love him is the fact that Shinsuke is just different. He's different from everyone. The character he has never been done before. It's never been done, and it's just he's unique. So it's very hard not to like Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's great in the ring. Where with Asuka, she's hard hitting, hasn't lost yet. It's a lot.
So I mean, I guess you could say it's more of like a Tajiri type dynamic. I mean, you look at the Akira Tozawa, the Tajiri, Asuka. They all kind of had the same platform, whereas Shinsuke is more of a quirky, original character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely see it. I mean, there's no question that Shinsuke Nakamura isn't talented. We're not saying that he isn't talented. I mean, he is. He's one of the most talented people in pro wrestling. But it's just, from an outsider's perspective, I mean, like you, I mean, I never really knew anything about Shinsuke Nakamura. I didn't know anything about AJ Styles, aside from, what I've heard about AJ Styles. Same thing with Samoa Joe. I knew more about Samoa Joe than any of them, but I've never seen him in the ring. So it's like, until I physically see them there, it's kind of like, okay, well, if I'm a new fan, why should I be so excited about this Samoa Joe? Why should I be so excited about Shinsuke Nakamura? Why should I be so excited about AJ Styles? And, it really says something about the wrestler themselves if they can come in from that type of deficit and quickly gain the respect of the people around them.
I can understand where you're coming from, but here's some other news from outside of WWE and with other indie promotions. Kenny Omega has said that he is not interested in WWE, doesn't want to be in part of the machine. Dixie Carter's no longer the TNA chairman. Anthem Sports takes control of the company. It's actually big, especially if they want to keep Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. They're going to go where the big bucks send them, and it's been very, very public that WWE is going after the Hardys and for them to keep their characters. Cody Rhodes, or Cody, the American Nightmare, went, and now he's a part of the Bullet Club, and he wrestled at the Tokyo Dome. So a lot has happened. I think the biggest thing out of all of this is the fact that Kenny Omega is coming up on his contract, and he has said multiple times that he is not interested in WWE. But what if WWE gives him a big contract? Do you think that he'll just... this is the way I mean, it's like kind of like Anderson and Gallows. It's like, that's a lot of money. I get to stay in the States. I don't have to go over to the, Japan. I don't know. I mean, Kyle, you're the most familiar with this part of the, wrestling world. What do you think? Do you think Kenny Omega will just stay in New Japan ROH?
I think he will, because he even said, you heard him say that there's going to be a part of the machine, because WWE, a lot of times you can keep your character and do what you want kind of thing sometimes, but a lot of times you can't. A lot of times people do what they're told, do whatever gimmicks Vince makes them do kind of thing. And I just think Kenny Omega, for how long he's been in New Japan and in the partnership that New Japan and Ring of Honor have, he can really continue to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and keep Bullet Club going. Because you even see, look at how Bullet Club is doing in WWE. Look at how they're doing. They're doing nothing. They're on separate brands. And the club, Anderson and Gallows, are doing literally nothing. They got no chances at all. Kenny Omega could get the same thing. He can get there. People realize who he is, do great for maybe a minute, and then he just completely gets overshadowed and gets underused like other people. Where in New Japan, he's the king of Japan right now, and he's not even from the place. He runs it, and like I said, the biggest thing about it is New Japan and Ring of Honor have a partnership where anybody from New Japan can go to Ring of Honor and compete on the television shows and the pay-per-views. Anybody from Ring of Honor can go to New Japan and compete on the television and the pay-per-views. So that's an amazing thing that WWE, even though the biggest promotion in the world, does not have. They don't have access to that great talent. And I think Kenny Omega, like I said, is making the best decision to stay with New Japan and what he's doing, because he's really the king of New Japan right now.
So, are you saying that you don't think he'll leave?
I don't think he'll leave at all. I don't think so. I think he's doing great where he's at, and he prefers that.
Why would the guy leave? I mean, look at guys like Cody Rhodes, who wanted to do something particular, and they said no because they thought their gimmick was better and that they wanted to keep it that way. You got guys like Matt Hardy, who has an amazing character. He has complete creative control of himself. Why would you want to come back over to the WWE and lose your creative control?
Oh, you should have heard Cody. You should have heard of. I'm sorry to interrupt. You should have heard Cody Rhodes' opening promo to him being a part of Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. The guy straight up says, "You used to know me as Dashing, and you also know me from leaving the stars in the dust." In his Stardust voice, it was good. He also put the Dashing Cody Rhodes mask on. It was holy shit! I didn't think that Cody Rhodes could do this, or Cody could do this.
Yeah, because the WWE is very strict when it comes to that content, because they own the characters.
I mean, I know Kyle hasn't seen it, and you need to watch that tonight. Just watch. In the website I showed you, it's part 4. It's in the middle of part 4 when Cody Rhodes wrestles. I mean, it is outstanding promo work to him. To just him debuting, it's he's a heel too. I always thought Cody Rhodes magnificent heel. So like he has the Bullet Club shirt, his shirt, and he looks over at the crowd with a smile. He's like, "Hi, you guys want it?" And just throws it behind him. He is, oh my goodness. The announcers even say this guy is 100% the best Rhodes out of the three.
That's a huge compliment. Well, I mean, honestly, especially in this era, I think he really is. Because even in TNA, he kind of like he crossed the line a little bit with the stuff he said. But hearing what he said from you apparently at Ring of Honor, that's great. And he's one of the most underused talents that WWE.
New Japan. This was at the Tokyo Dome as he's walking down the ramp.
Well, my bad then. Yeah, at New Japan, but WWE they really did underuse him, man. They gave him some pretty crap gimmicks and just did give him a chance to really be more of himself. I think they gave him to be dashing Cody Rhodes, to put on the face mask thing, to do Stardust. He never really got to just be Cody. He couldn't just be Cody almost ever. If you think back his entire career, he couldn't do it. Now he gets the chance, and yeah, is he going to bash on WWE? Yeah, and that's cool that he crosses that line, but he doesn't get in trouble for it because he's not really like crossing it though. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like he's crossing it, but he's not going too far enough to where WWE can like sue him for anything he did.
Well, they can't sue him as long as he doesn't use Cody Rhodes.
Exactly. That's like in TNA when Matt Hardy's like.
Let me rephrase that. Cody cannot get sued. Now, New Japan could get sued because they mentioned Dusty Rhodes' name and Dustin. In the commentary, they do.
Okay, and that's like I said when Matt Hardy in TNA says like the Bucks of Youth and stuff like that, and like the Man of Three H's, all that stuff.
That's just crazy that they can sue them for just mentioning their names like that. Like, you think that there's some sort of protection, at least from that. Like, it's like us not being able to say, oh, it's Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's going for the championship. You know, there's got to be some sort of freedom in at least the dialogue in wrestling. It's not like they're saying he's Cody Rhodes. They're saying, oh, he's related to the American Dream, and it's like common knowledge.
Well, one of the things he says, you know my grandfather from being the plumber.
Yeah.
Which, call me blonde, but I don't get the reference. Never have.
Well, I mean, the American Dream. You know, he was the plumber. He's the everyday man.
So yeah, like his first opening line in the promos, you might know me from being the grandson of a plumber. You might know me from being dashing. And then has his mask on, and it goes in and out, and then he says, "You also might know." I just totally went Macho Man. He said, "You also might." I'm trying to think of his voice. I can't do it. You also might know me from leaving the star in the dust.
It's great.
I was just like, oh man! I was just like, keep going. But
I gotta watch that tonight.
But yeah, dude. I mean, Cody killed it. But yeah, it is crazy that he can get in trouble by using the name. I know he's trying to get it where he can use Cody Rhodes because I know that WWE and himself did not end on bad terms.
Right, which is interesting because it's like one of the very few that have actually left the company in good terms. I mean, there's been so many other stories where it's been the opposite lately.
Yeah. But let's move to TNA though, or unless you guys still want to talk on Cody Rhodes and New Japan.
Well, I mean, one more thing about Cody I was gonna say is like touching on the crazy how he can't say stuff. Like there was a time when he was in TNA and he was talking to the world champion Eddie Edwards and he was kind of explaining stuff who he is. Like my name, like he was on the mic, he said my name is Cody, and then he took the mic away and then said Rhodes, so he didn't say it on the mic because he is Cody Rhodes, and it's so stupid he can't be Cody Rhodes because of WWE.
No, I mean, it's not like WWE here is being the asshole because look, business wise, it's smart. They copyrighted his name. So, I mean, it's like the Washington Redskins. Their stuff isn't copyrighted anymore. But you and I could go make a T-shirt with their logo and stuff on it, and we could sell it and make money without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you really want someone to do that to that name? And it's like, no, you can't do that. So I understand why. I mean, personally, I think that they should allow Cody Rhodes to have his name and him be able to copyright his own name. That's me personally. But, I mean, knowing WWE, they probably won't do that since he's on the network and everything. But, I mean, TNA, I mean, it's still on a downward spiral. The only thing keeping it alive is the fact that we have Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Broken Hardys. So again, here's the question to both of you. I mean, I know just as little as Kyle or as Andrew does. Does the Hardys stay in TNA with the new owners? Also, Jeff Jarrett is returning.
Well then, okay, that's interesting. But I mean, with the Hardys, I think they might give it a chance. They might try to give it a chance with the new owners, but I think ultimately they might want to go back to WWE just because it's a bigger platform. It's bigger. I just think it might be a better situation. It depends though. If I don't think they're gonna go back unless they have kind of like full leniency with their characters, because WWE has a history where I guarantee they're gonna try and like tweak it a little bit to make it more PG friendly or less like crossing the line. They're gonna make it more condensed, and I don't think the Hardys will allow that to happen because they're doing amazing right now, and I think it's because they have a lot of leeway with their characters. I'm worried if they go to WWE that they're gonna really take control of it and turn it into really like it turns into garbage. That's what I'm really worried about.
I'm honestly going to say no. I'm going to say it's not going to happen. Because they've, especially Matt Hardy, have made it known that he wants complete creative control because he likes where he is right now. I mean, you kind of look back at the old-time WCW and the Hulk Hogan's and the Scott Halls and the Kevin Nash. They didn't want to leave WCW because they had full, complete creative control. They could do whatever the heck they want. If they didn't feel like losing a championship belt, they'll say, screw that, we ain't doing that. This is how we're going to do it. You know, Matt Hardy's in that position right now, and no one's going to tell him no because he's the only thing keeping that company afloat right now. So, you know, I feel like the only way he's coming to WWE is if they give him complete control of control. And if they don't give him complete total control, which WWE is known for, I feel like they're going to want to walk. And the only other exception would be Jeff Hardy. I feel like Jeff Hardy is the most likely to sign on. And that's just because I know that he said on multiple occasions that he'd rather retire in WWE than anywhere else.
Well, I also think that. Well, hang on, and I'll let you go, Kyle. I think he's also very happy that his brother's in the main spotlight because it's always been Jeff over Matt, Jeff over Matt. Matt's never been number one, so I think that. I think if they don't, I think they both have to come over. If they are to come over, they both have to. And they have to do the Broken Hardys. I think that, you know, Jeff has had the main star, you know, power, and he's been the main star of the Hardys. I think he's just happy having Matt being number one and retiring on that. And personally, I don't know if they're going to come back or not because I know Matt has he said it to Kenny Omega that, you know, it's good that Kenny Omega is not letting the meek man's monopoly everything because that's what they're trying to do.
Of course. Why wouldn't they? They don't want any competition, obviously. And one big thing with the two is that if in TNA, the thing with that makes the Hardys like so good too is how theatrical everything is too. And like Andrew even said, the amount of creative control they have because they have the creative control to do it at a show at their own house, on their own compound, as they like to put it. The WWE would never allow that to happen. That's the problem. There's so many things WWE will not allow them to do. So I don't know if they're going to go. I mean, maybe they leave TNA. They can go to Ring of Honor. They can go to New Japan. They can go anywhere they want right now, honestly. With how hot they are in TNA, they can leave the company and go wherever they want. The problem with WWE, like I said, is they're not going to give them the amount of creative control that they want. There's no way McMahon is going to allow that to happen. And the man of three H's, as they like to put it, they're not going to allow it. There's no way.
I'm so in the middle of this because I know that Matt has made Jeff has made it very clear that he'd like to come back to the WWE. Matt has complete creative control, and Matt has made, you know, like he's tweeted at Bray Wyatt and saying, I know where to find you and stuff like that. But man, I don't know. I'm so in the middle of this because I know their contract is up in this month or next month. I want to say it's next month or March. I don't know. In all honesty, if you want my honest opinion, I think it just depends on who throws more money out.
Well, I mean, as a fan, everybody wants them to come over, but in the real world, that's not how it happens. It's like you got a lot of things you got to weigh, and you know, the Hardys got a gig over here. The TNA's closing its doors, but it's like Kyle said. I mean, why would they care if TNA closes? They can go to New Japan. They can go to WWE. There's so many other options that they can go to. So it's kind of like it's up to them what they want to do.
And with what you said, Blake, I mean, I want to say it's like who throws more money their way, but I don't think at this point they care about the money that much anymore. They've done so much. I think they care more about their legacy, their careers, and they're the best thing about them is they're on top of the world having fun. They're not doing what the company wants them to do. They're doing whatever they want. They're having a blast doing it. I think they care more about entertainment and leaving like a lasting, like the best lasting legacy they can than just if WWE throws them like the most money than any company. I think they would pick creative control over money because, like I said, and I can't reiterate this enough. If they decide to go to WWE, there's no way that McMahon and Triple H and any of them are going to allow the amount of creative control they have at TNA to be there because it's extremely theatrical and they're headlining the show. They're taking spotlight from the main event, and WWE would never allow that. That's the problem.
See,
But
I think as of right now, with what I mean, their legacy is good. So what do they need to have? What do they need to build on?
they can keep building, dude. They have an amazing legacy right now, but they could easily keep going and have the one of the best legacies that it ever had in wrestling history. They could do that if they keep, especially doing this. They can be one of the most entertaining and just one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They already are. Don't get me wrong, but they can keep that going. And I feel like if they go to WWE, they're going to lose that kind of like spotlight kind of thing. They're going to lose that ability because, like I said, the biggest thing is creative control. They're not going to have that. There's no way WWE is going to allow that.
I think.
Well, I mean that. Well, if Vince never been able to do creative control, you've seen creative control over at WCW and what that can do, and you see it at TNA and what it can do. So it's kind of like, okay, well, one was a bad experience, one was a good experience, but if you want my opinion on it, Vince McMahon has never given anybody complete creative control. It's never been that way, and that's the way he's always run his company. As long as Vince is in the picture, there's no way the Hardys are going to get exactly what they want. Now with Triple H, they might not get complete control, total control with him, but he would be more likely to, kind of cater to him, in my opinion, because he knows what's best for business and he knows how to run a show. If he sees how successful the Hardys are on their own in TNA, he'd be like, you know what, do your own thing. Let's see what happens. But I mean, that's the way I think about it. I feel like under Triple H, they would be more likely to come over than under McMahon.
It's possible.
I honestly think that if WWE gives them enough money that they'd come. I think if they give them a fat paycheck, they would.
I don't know.
But I mean, does TNA able to give them the funds? Obviously, Dixie's not in charge, but can that happen?
It's possible. For how good they are, it's possible. TNA will throw like anything they can at them to keep them because TNA does not want. If TNA loses the Hardys, then the sinking ship is gone already. I mean, they pretty much are, but they're going to be gone a lot quicker if they lose the Hardys.
I don't know. I think that's all we're gonna be having time for this week's edition of Next Big Thing. Next week, I think we can talk more on NXT for the San Antonio show as we are. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I believe
We're 3 weeks away tomorrow.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks away as of tomorrow from NXT San Antonio, as we do have the card, and I'll give everyone what the card is from spoilers next week. We'll give our thoughts on the card, and then following up that, we'll give our, we have a bunch of episodes ready on the line. So for Kyle and Andrew, until this Saturday, be sure to tune in Saturday with Keeping It Real. I mean, just talking before we started doing this show, we have a lot of topics to talk about, including the Royal Rumble, who we think is going to win the Royal Rumble, and what storylines we can see for the main stars, as in Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, who's going to debut, yada yada yada. So until this Saturday, peace out.